I mean, Matt was a little against it at the beginning because he thinks it was too military.
Yeah.
You know what, when you're gone for 8 hours, you know, especially guys on midnights and afternoons, more, so, I mean, you can run real easy with an arm or things like that. Updates from golf. Oh, sorry. School records?
I didn't get the memo.
Good.
The way this is broken up.
He's coming over to my house. He's going, well,
Rex and Aaron are the only two. I'll let Aaron.
I got some it's an area, and I think it might be dry. But it was just like,
In the city,
you walk out there,
it's
if you didn't think it
And
about
that's
that
all
far,
coming out of
you'd be,
RDC. Everything else is paid for by the developer. It's like the Indiana Avenue.
Well, we're getting concrete for it tomorrow.
Excellent.
They can
Well,
look at
simplified
the
that for me.
background.
Thanks.
Bless his heart, he's so.
Were you in the middle?
I feel so sorry for him. His workers were saying that
You can't wait.
he's crazy.
No, you didn't.
oh, man.
Well, I'll just say, we want to thank the mayor for supporting Newcastle.
You're gonna start leaving the set with some,
That's exactly, he just did, you're just standing up for the community.
I didn't bring anything here.
2 weeks ago.
I don't make fun of anybody for doing it. I've done it.
You came at the hospital. I like that at the hospital.
Everyone rise, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, we just thank you that we can come here tonight and represent the people of Newcastle. We just ask you to give us wisdom in our proceedings and just help us to do the right things. And Lord, we ask you to continue to watch over our community and bless our people and keep everybody safe. In Jesus' name, amen.
City Council meeting Monday, June 3rd, 2019 comes to order. Roll call, please.
Mary Burnington. Here. Jeff Hancock.
Here.
Jerry Walden.
Here.
Aaron Dickens.
Here.
Mark Cover.
Here.
Lynn Purdue.
Here.
Rex Beckman.
Here.
Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes from the former meeting?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the previous meeting.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Mary Burnington. Aye. Jeff Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walden.
Aye.
Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Cover.
Aye.
Lynn Purdue.
Aye.
Rex Beckman.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. I'll turn this meeting over to you, Mr. President.
Thanks, Mayor. First on the agenda is Resolution 0603-2019-1, which is establishing the grievance compliance, which is the ADA Title VI compliance. Very lengthy. It's nothing that we've written. We just need it for compliance purposes, so I move that we accept this.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Mary Burnington. Aye. Jeff Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walden.
Aye.
Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Cover.
Aye.
Lynn Purdue.
Aye.
Rex Beckman.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
And next is Resolution 0603-2019-2, approving Title VI plan and policy. Again, it goes, the previously adopted resolution, which we just did, this piggybacks off that. I move that we accept that.
Second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Mary Burnington. Aye. Jeff Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walden.
Aye.
Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Cover.
Aye.
Lynn Purdue.
Aye.
Rex Beckman.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
And ordinances, first reading 3804, amending zoning districts on Garner Street. Whereas on March 18, 2019, Turning Point Life Center requests the Newcastle Plan Commission consider the amendment The master plan of the city of Newcastle established in ordinance number 846 of the city. And whereas the request submitted by the BBR seeks to rezone certain real estate located in the city of Newcastle, Henry County, Indiana, from its current I-1 industry to zoning to C1 commercial zoning. Whereas the rezoning gives reasonable regard to the comprehensive plan, conditions, and character to the area to be rezoned, the most desirable use, property value of the area, reasonable development and growth. Whereas on April 24, 2019, the Planning Commission certified to the Common Council of the City of Newcastle that it had considered this request, and after public notice and hearing approved the aforementioned amendment in the zoning code. Again, this is on Garner Street. You guys got a plat map along with this. There were really no questions at the Planning Commission meeting. It's commonly known as 911 Garner Street in Newcastle. And again, the GIS map is attached. Does anybody on council have anything?
I would assume surrounding property owners received notice.
They do to the planning, yeah.
Okay.
That's the law.
This is actually the second, there'll be a public hearing on it where they will get a notice in the mail.
Great.
And that'll be your first meeting in July. They've already received one public hearing, and that was before the Plan Commission. So this will be their second opportunity to come and speak.
Great. Thanks.
Anybody else? got anything? If not, I make a motion, we accept ordinance 3804.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Mary Burrington. Aye. Jeff Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walden.
Aye.
Aaron Goodman.
Aye.
Mark Holt.
Aye.
Glenn Purdue.
Aye.
Rex Beckman.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
And next is ordinance 3805, amending Title 7, Chapter 74 of the City Code, establishing new speed limits on Q Avenue. The current speed limit on Q Avenue has been determined to be too high, current road and neighborhood conditions. The Traffic Committee of the Common Council has determined that it's best interest of traffic flow and public safety for speed limits to be established at 20 miles per hour on Q Avenue and 20 miles an hour between Cherrywood Avenue on the east and South Main Street on the west. Now therefore be it ordained by the Common Council that Title 7, Chapter 74, Schedule 5 of the Newcastle City Code hereby amended. Again, this was in reference to Mr. Moles that came and spoke again last meeting. Traffic Committee has suggested to lower that speed limit there to 20.
I'll make a motion to accept 3805.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any other questions or comments?
I do. I personally feel like, and I understand Mr. Moll's complaints, okay? And that's really one of the reasons that prompted those signs that we've gotten that to assist in speeding in certain areas. Now, I truly feel like myself that 30 miles an hour down that road is a safe miles per hour. What his biggest complaint is the speeders that try to go from 0 to 60 between stop signs. Now, lowering the speed limit's not going to stop those individuals, so I really feel like that lowering that speed limit is not really going to accomplish a whole lot. And every place in town is 30 miles an hour except for parks and schools, basically. And to me, that just kind of opens up the door for different neighborhoods requesting reduction in speed limits all over town. Then all of a sudden, we're just going to have, places that are cherry picked, stop 20 to 30, 20 to 30, off and on. And
There's some situations that way. Midway Drive's 20, everything around is 30. They talked about changing, and they petitioned sign that they didn't want it changed and all that. That was underneath Nib's administration and all that, so.
Discussion with this issue last year, drove it often at that point, and it is and you could probably argue that there are several walking paths to the school there. You've got a walking path to the high school and middle school, walking path to Parker, and it's a block east from the park where everywhere around it is 20. That was my justification for it, and I can take that to someone who wants a cherry-picked street in the middle of a neighborhood to kind of counter that thought.
Well, and I understand, I know where all that's
But
coming
I
from.
understand your concerns
As I,
too.
as I go down and I'm turning left on Q to go to Dairy Queen, and I'm not really I'm paying attention, but I'm just leisurely driving down, and I'm driving 30 miles an hour, because 30 miles an hour to me is a safe speed. Now, I could be ticketed for 10 miles over, and where I feel like I'm driving a safe speed limit. So,
I think-
I just don't, I really wanted to give our signs that we purchased in a rotation a chance to work before we start changing speed limits. That's just my
And
thoughts.
had this been the first time I think that it came up, I probably would have been with you.
I think one reason is only to lower it is because you have parking on both sides of the street. Some of the policemen have said a visual of when you're there and both sides are parked on like that, kids darting in and out, it does give you a visual effect of cars you think are going faster, but they're really not. So, I think with cars being parked on both sides of the street, I don't see a problem with going down to 20. If they parked on one side, but, again, any neighborhood you go to and you pick a side of the street to park on, you're
And
50%
to the
wrong.
north side's really part of the park. I mean, you got the horseshoes,
Sure.
you got, the pool, people crossing and stuff.
I think if you turned it into 20, you've turned the whole city into 20. I challenge each one of you to drive 20 miles an hour anywhere on your way home tonight.
It's tough.
I get to 20 when I get to that sign. When I get to the digital sign, I get to 20 for a short period of time.
If you voted in, you just turned the whole city, but you can't deny anybody else, because they're gonna say, well, I got justification. We park cars on both sides. So every street in Newcastle that parks on both sides, we just turned into.
Because the big selling point was there are kids there, and every street in Newcastle has kids there.
I think lowering it to 20 is a better option than what he wanted originally, and if you remember correctly, it was a stop sign. So, I would,
I will hammer home the proximity to the parks, the 2 or 3 schools, and honestly, the fire station too, depending on what's going on there. I will. It's not necessarily because there are other streets that have parking on both sides. I'll concede that to you. But I just think that there's a lot going on, especially with the VP right there too. And I mean, we've all seen the traffic, the pedestrian traffic from VP to skate park or houses.
I'm serious. I challenge every one of you. Drive 20 anywhere on the way home tonight. Drive 20.
The whole way, you're not going to.
No, anywhere.
You're not going to.
You're either starting or
You
stopping.
failed, Rex.
I have another question too.
I go
As-
20 by the park.
This is for the traffic committee. As I'm driving around today, really paying attention to speed zones, what's up with the 20-mile-an-hour sign that says when children are present? What's that mean?
Well, I tell you, the place that's
Around
it's
schools.
really interesting is you go on Riley Road, you're coming from 3 up Riley Road, and there's a sign that says 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. Then you come to where we had the digital, okay,
Yeah.
it says 20, Well, then you come to the one that says 20 when children are present. So my question is it 30 there when
Exactly.
children aren't present?
Yeah, what is
A
that?
lot of children play there after
What-
school.
Right, but it's,
Can I add something to the
Yeah.
speed limit down there? I sat down there on 2 occasions for an hour and wrote down that every speed of every car I clocked going both ways. And it averaged out to about 25.4 miles per hour. Occasionally, you had somebody close to 35 miles per hour. You're going to have a kid or an adult sometimes get all over, go one way or another. But quite honestly, it's a 2-block stretch, and you really have to punch pretty hard to get going as fast as what he thinks. I mean, 30 miles an hour down through there, unless you're actually sitting there clocking them, will seem like it's a fairly fast pace. But from what I think the fastest car I clocked down there in the 2 hours I was down there was 37. But most of them were between 19 miles an hour, 17 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour. I had more cars less than 30 than I did over, by far.
Okay. Thanks, Chief. I have
And
nothing
another
else.
thing. I would be concerned if you had, there's other people that live on that stretch. If you had other people up here complaining the same thing, saying the same thing, I'd be a little bit concerned if you had multiple people up here. But you've got one person and, you know,
Well,
you might sit there and clock cars with me and say, hey, your radar's messed up, because I think they're going faster than that, but we have them checked every year.
well, and if you'll recall, last year when he came, there was two other houses that came with him too.
I mean, maybe he
Yeah.
needs to do that.
I mean, they can
But
vote.
you are gonna run into that.
You vote no.
The minimum.
Got a motion.
This is just discussion.
No,
It's 30 miles an hour typically in the city, 55 miles an hour in the rural community. You guys are gonna end up putting 20 mile an hour speed limit signs everywhere.
Is there any other comments or questions or?
Listen, Mike, since he's park superintendent, what do you think, Mike?
Around Baker Park, especially, I mean, there's a lot of traffic. I mean, it is hard to go 20, but I think the new digital signs that we got up, people are reacting to that. You can tell they start off by VP and head north, and they're cruising, and all of a sudden, you see brake lights and you see people descending, so it makes a conscious decision for them to slow down. I think 20 is a good, in that area with the baseball diamonds, the skate park, the park itself. If we can get people to react and be trained to that area for 20, I think that's a good stick.
How
He's
long
not
would
talking
be-
about Q, he's talking about.
No.
Right,
that's right.
yeah, I'm talking about, yeah.
Can we move those Litton signs pretty much any time?
We can move them over there and start
I
collecting
must
data
admit,
now.
I slowed down when I.
If you guys want the sign
Yeah,
moved,
he's-
collect data, and then we can show you the data on how much speeding is taking place.
If you're gonna move one, I'd rather move the one at Riley for 60 days instead of the one in front of the pool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Riley's
make a
done
motion, we
good job
table
for the
this.
school, For the school period, that's why we put it there first.
Right. I'll second that motion.
Somebody's gonna have to
Let's
rescind.
table it for
Somebody's gonna have to rescind. We got a motion and a second on
I'm
the
gonna rescind my motion. We'll move the one from Riley to there and get some data, and we'll table it for now.
Yeah, second that.
Okay, he needs a second first, so you're second.
Mhm. Motion to table.
Got that?
Table it without date?
Pardon me?
You want it tabled without date, or do you want it to come up at the next meeting?
It's gonna take a little while for him to get the data and stuff, so.
I mean, I'd even say 30 days.
30
This
days.
place would be enough.
30 should be enough to get plenty of
So-
people driving through there.
30 days from
How
the
soon?
time we get it moved.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think?
As soon as.
How soon do you think that could be moved, Lee?
Sync it
With
move.
our new brackets that we've got, it's a matter of a 20-minute job to sink the new bracket into the concrete.
Yeah, we don't have to take the sign off.
Yeah, we don't have to take
Just
sign
move
off post now, we
Yeah.
unbolt it, we put a new bracket in wherever you want to put it.
Yeah.
We just slide the pole back into the same post and the bracket.
I like that.
You think yet this week? Is that doable? I don't know how backed up you are.
Probably the second.
We've got a couple
Second
of
meeting,
second
yeah.
meetings coming to me that is gonna take priority over everything else this week.
Yep.
So, I mean, the earliest I can get it would be Friday.
Did you say second meeting in July?
Yeah,
That's what I
that
was
probably
gonna
gives us at least 30 days, I would
I
think.
bet you guys, you're not gonna get
Not gonna get what?
accurate data. If there's a speed sign, and
It
and
gets-
I'm
but
going
it-
by, I know, but still, when you go by, don't you slow down, Rex?
Yeah, but how far back, I mean, I know when I'm coming up Riley Road, if I'm going 28, it's pretty far back when it tells me I'm going 28, 26,
Yeah,
24.
it gives you plenty of time to slow
So how
down.
long when does it record the data, right when you pass it, or
No, it starts collecting data as soon as it
The
picks
moment
up
it
the
senses.
speed.
picks up your speed?
Yeah.
So it's gonna get you back, if the sign is mid-block and you should have been at 30, it's gonna get you going
So
36 or
in
70.
100 yards, it would say 30 miles an hour, and then it would say the same data that it slows down to 20 or 19.
Well, then we might as well get ready to buy a bunch of 20-mile-an-hour speed signs.
Well, at least we'll have data that says that's what.
You probably,
That's gonna be.
that's an easy way to collect data, that we could turn the sign off so it won't flash and it still collects data.
Maybe that's a
Oh,
better
that'd be
deal.
better.
So you
Might
just
be a better
collect,
deal.
Yeah.
we can turn
Actual.
that sign completely off and have it collect data.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Because
that's,
then we'll get a true reading.
then we know
Yeah,
really.
that would be a
reading.
better.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, don't, Daryl, don't write, we're turning it off to collect that.
Okay, so I have a motion to rescind the old motion. We're gonna table it until the second meeting in July to collect data from the
Turned off sign.
turned off signs.
Okay.
Got it.
Got a motion and a second.
Okay.
Roll call vote on.
Like I said.
Table.
Yeah.
The table.
Mary Brington.
Aye.
Jeff Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walden.
Aye.
Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Koger.
You know, I'll vote aye, but we have committees for a reason. And if we venture off the beaten path of thinking that we know more than a committee of three knows, maybe we should just do away with committees altogether. It's kind of frustrating, you know, with the work and the time that a committee puts into anything, not just traffic. Traffic committee is your busiest committee anyway. But, you know, we don't rescind too many from, you know, cemeteries or parks or anything else. And then when it comes to traffic committee, it seems like everybody's a traffic expert. None of us are traffic experts. We sit here and try to do what we think's right for the citizens of Newcastle. So keep that in the back of your mind when everybody always wants to rescind this and table that. And, you know, we've had plenty of time to talk about it amongst ourselves, you know.
If you're included.
Well, we should all be included. I mean, we knew about it before when Mr. Moles came up. But my point is we need to do the respect of our committees too. You know, it is a committee of three, so.
Mark, I appreciate that,
I was
because
gonna
I
say-
went and sat and watched traffic too. Of course, I can't take how fast they're going and how slow they're going,
Okay, I understand.
but
Right,
that's
we
the
none of
only
us do.
reason that I'm okay with gathering data.
Right.
Now, my big point is, it's park area.
And we all agree.
There's an open grass area there, right behind the fire station. A lot of kids walk through there, and you cannot forget that.
I vote aye.
And
Aye.
we shouldn't forget that.
Motion carries 7-0. My 2 cents worth is, now we have a couple of machines that we can gather data. A year ago, we didn't.
Correct.
Maybe we should have tabled it, we're learning a lesson now. Maybe we should have tabled it and used some of that data before we got to this point. Because I agree, you guys take time to look into it, I respect that. But now maybe when it comes to speeding, we need to take a little bit longer to look at it, and it should have been
Well,
tabled before it got here.
And these signs now can be a tool for the traffic committee to
Right.
use.
Absolutely.
When something like
Yeah.
that comes up, they can ask.
Still,
can
we need to
move it?
keep in mind the areas that we're talking about,
Well, sure,
especially this time
certainly.
of year.
Certainly.
Yeah. Well, and school's out, so it's okay to move that one around the road, in my opinion. School's out. Okay, that motion carried 7-0.
That's it for ordinances, resolutions. There was other business for Angela Cox from the Henry County Health Department for a proposed visibility crosswalk.
Mr. Mayor, council members,
Steve?
thank you for having me. It appears that what I want to ask you is quite timely. I didn't do this on purpose, but what a fascinating conversation we've had.
For the
because-
traffic committee.
For the traffic committee, yes. I was fortunate enough to attend a urban planning conference last fall and learned about high visibility crosswalks, which you happen to have one right outside this main door. And those lines go this way rather than this way as a person would walk across the street. And those types of crosswalks are called Continental, and they provide someone going 30 miles an hour an extra 8 seconds to to see and visualize a pedestrian and can drop traffic pedestrian incidents up to 37%. And so I've had this kind of percolating in my mind since last fall, but I had a bit of a health setback, but I am now ready to tackle it.
Good.
So, I would apologize, I wish I had an overhead, but what I want to show you are some examples of some out of the ordinary, artistic, continental crosswalks. And where I would like to put the first one for the city of Newcastle is between the pool and Baker Park. Because that crosswalk currently consists of 2 faded lines. And there are 2 parking spaces that come very, actually adjacent to those 2 thin lines. And one of the recommendations through the state transportation would be to offset and remove those 2 so that the onboarding of the pedestrian could be seen better by ongoing traffic. Commissioner Tarantino has volunteered to paint the mural pro bono for us, and I'm in charge of working to see how much paint is going to cost and that sort of thing. But I'm coming to you to ask permission to pursue this endeavor and ask what direction I need to go. So I've learned now that we have a
Traffic committee.
that I might be able to approach and go into further detail about.
So are you looking at 3D?
I am, and I want to put surfboards. Perpendicular from the park.
I was thinking about sharks.
Sharks. I thought surfboards would be good because the 3D one's really neat and it kind of looks like it floats.
Angela?
Yes, sir.
According to Mr. Copenhaver, we don't need a ordinance or resolution or anything like that, just a simple motion. So I'll make a motion that you be allowed to pursue creating a high visibility crosswalk there in front of the pool at Baker Park.
Should she work with Mike on that possibly, since it's
Well, I'm sure it
from
wouldn't hurt to
park
coordinate
to-
with Mike Burkham, the park superintendent, a little bit.
I'll second that motion.
All right.
Don't do it too soon. That road's getting repaved.
Yeah, it's getting
You know, I'm
repaired.
glad that you said that because Jeff Ray gave me a sticky note.
Let's get that new road down before you do it.
Absolutely. Do you have a time frame for that?
They're telling me before the month is out that they would like to get to our city and get started on our paving project. I don't have a set date.
Okay. All right.
And I'm not sure what area we're gonna start on.
So that would make it allowable to change those parking spaces right
It'll
there.
be chipped up, new surface.
So that's perfect, Angela.
It'll be probably close to the front end because we have a large bicycle race coming down. What's the date of that?
July 27th.
July. So it'll be on the front end of the project.
Okay.
So that's good timing.
So we just need to vote on that. We need to vote on that session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Mary Barrington.
Aye.
Jeff Hancock.
Aye.
Jerry Walden.
Aye.
Aaron Dickens.
Aye.
Mark Hover.
Aye.
Clifford Booth.
Aye.
Travis Beckles.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
We'll go to committee reports, start forward there.
Okay, I only have one thing tonight, and it's the field there at the Y at I Avenue and Grand Avenue. The weeds are about 3 feet high, and you have to pull almost clear out in the intersection.
Aye and Gray.
Yeah.
I'll call the state owns that.
I know, that's what you told me, I just cannot believe that.
I know. I didn't find out till last year, and once I told them, they actually started taking care of it last year, but I haven't been.
Okay,
in
yeah,
there.
they really need to get there, because somebody's gonna get hit there.
Let's see.
Okay, that's all I have.
Couple things. Brenda, what a great job you did on the float, everybody involved in the float. It looked really great. And second of all, I want to apologize on the Stiller grant. I haven't been able to attend some of the meetings because getting off at 5 and 6 o'clock, but thank you all that's been attending and what you did. That's all, Your Honor.
I have a couple of things. Received a phone call from St. Anne's 2 weeks ago concerning the no parking sign that was taken down during reconstruction. and painting the curb because they'd had some problems with people parking there in front of the fire hydrant. So I contacted Valerie, and true story, she got back with me Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. And then I sent out to the traffic committee and to Lee, and Lee took it upon himself to go ahead and put up a no parking sign, and he painted the curb.
Awesome.
So I was able to contact Valerie today, and a big shout out to Lee. You know, he didn't have to do that, because she said it may take up to 6 weeks to get it done. So he took it upon himself to take care of that. Lee, I really appreciate that. And the church appreciates it too, so I wanted to pass that on. We'd had some issues on 16th Street from Broad going north. Lee and his crew has taken care of those intersections. The big one was there at Spring Street, and it's almost like brand new now. And I can tell you, the residents there really, really appreciate it. They've been cold patching it, and it washed out probably by the time she got out there each time. So it's a big deal to us when things like that get taken care of. Had a lot of questions about the tall grass, and I feel bad for Guinea because with this weather, it's just big spotlight on it. They can't get out and get to these places. You just can't do it. You can't get the parts. You know, the cemetery looked great for what you were able to do, and for you to go out and do what you did with that, thank you.
Jerry, this was probably the first year I did not get a complaint from somebody that the cemetery hadn't been mowed, and this was probably the year that was going to be the worst.
Well, they brought in extra. I know he has down trees and can't get to it because it's wet.
I think people understand a lot that this year too.
Well, some do. Kenny, are there any codes that we need to change for you or update to make your job easier?
We cut it back from 12 to 8. That helped a bunch. By the time we get there, you know, it's usually 12 or 16.
Because it's the same properties every year. I've turned in last 3 years, very same places. And you call Kenny and talk to him, he knows exactly where you're talking about. Says, well, that owner's out in California, or that owner's in New York.
Well, and that's what I had that thought, and I don't know, Mr. Copenhaver, if there's anything legally or if there's anything other communities are doing to prohibit that kind of purchase from happening. Is there?
Not when it's open like that.
Right.
You know, we got that big warehouse right across the drive-through market. It has a big hole in the roof. I mean, you can't miss it. I brought that, he said that guy owns it out in California. You know,
Well, land bank will help with that.
yeah, it's frustrating when you drive around, and you know this, Chris, when you drive around our area, you have this really nice piece of property, and then you have two properties to the side of it. I wouldn't want near my house. And it just seems like Ward 3 has a lot of that going on. You go out to the Heights, you go up at 18th Street, you go down Spring Street, and it just gets frustrating. And I just feel like the city's hands are tied with what we have, and I don't know if there's anything else that we could do. You know, do we need to update the codes? I'm just frustrated. I'm frustrated for I'm frustrated for the homeowners.
All you can do is fight it and
Yeah,
not give up. We have properties that Kenny and I have been fighting. We go to court, and the problem is then people walk away from it, and then we have
It's
to
a
come up.
title search and all that.
The taxpayer has to come up with the money to fix it, and then we'll never get our money back. And that's something that you can't really budget. I mean, that, every time we have homeowners, property owners, they're not, some of our homeowners, property owners who are not responsible and don't take care of their property, don't get fire insurance, because we have properties that catch on fire in decent neighborhoods and never get repaired and fall into disrepair, and we're left dealing with it, and you can't put people in jail for that. I wish we've had that discussion many times. And we're not unique. it's not unique to Newcastle.
I just don't want the citizens out there to think that we're not
Only thing you can
frustrated
do
too.
is remain diligent.
I think every one of us are frustrated
You
with
have
it.
to remain diligent, you have to keep on it, you can't get so frustrated that you give up. You have to try new things, like the land bank hopefully will help. But see, again, the land bank can only be as good as the money it has to do the work it has.
Exactly.
And their funds are limited. I mean, we want nice parks, we want good roads, we want to pay our policemen more. All those things, there's only so much to go around. And it's sad that homeowners, who really should take care of their own property owners should be the ones responsible for that.
Exactly.
That's not really a traditional role of government, like the other things I mentioned, so.
Well, I can tell you, when we did our cleanup over at Castle Heights, it was frustrating for the third year in a row. Is behind the same houses in the very same alley that we were picking up the same stuff, that if they set it out on the curb, the street department would pick it up. And I don't want people getting used to the fact, well, this group's going to come through this spring and clean this up for us. You know, we don't want that. We want people to be responsible, but I still feel bad for the neighbors. That's who I feel bad for. You know, I don't want to have to go out and, you know, we have that house over here on 14th Street, right off of Vine. They're turning the backyard into a junkyard again, and there's a car parked back here again. You know what I'm talking about. We deal with it every year, and it gets worse this time of year. And that's a local person. So I don't know if we can do something with them. It just...
Throw them in jail for 3 days.
I'll bite my tongue.
That's a solution.
But-
More people are agreeing with my case all the time.
Well, that's not a question, people agreeing.
You know, I want people to know that we're not trying to deal with it. That's not the case. And I don't want people to think that Kenny's not trying to deal with it, because every time I call him, he knows exactly what I'm talking about. And he's sent out the letters, and he's done what we were supposed to do, and he just, it gets...
We have a property within 2 blocks of this front door, right here, that's caught on fire twice. Homeowner doesn't want it, had no insurance. We still have to go through the legal system with it, we still have to.
Does the fire department need some practice houses?
They practiced on that one twice, 2 nights in a row. Two
About 8
nights in a row.
hours.
It is frustrating, Gary.
Daryl, I just really hope the citizens understand that we do try to get a hold of the titles and the deeds through the housing committee and the blight program, but it's a process that if you're not involved with it, you just don't understand how frustrating it gets for a person like Ed Hill when he's going through that.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Just a couple things. I think maybe we talked about this last meeting, but I couldn't recall. I know we had a banner to hire seasonal help. We hire mowers or anything. It's just the weather. Okay. Other than that, I just wanted for the state for the record, congratulations to Eastwood Principal Jacob White. He was selected as the Indiana District 6 Principal of the Year, which is a big deal. And I know from working there, I mean, the culture that he has created in this community, but specifically the Eastwood neighborhood, has really, transcended any of the red tape that the state has put on education. So he should be proud of that, and we should be proud of him. So that's all I have.
And some of those rules and regulations are frustrating also. But
Don't get me started.
I don't have anything tonight.
I don't have anything.
I've got just a couple simple things. First, remember Thursday night, 6:30 in the council chambers will be a special meeting concerning Stellar. So anybody that has anything to say about Stellar, hopefully they'll come.
This is open for anyone.
Anybody can come.
Anyone,
Yeah.
And you do need a quorum, but even if you don't pass anything, you need a quorum to accept information.
I'll be
I
here.
think we'll have that.
We'll be okay.
Then the second thing, Sean DeFault's here with the chamber, and just wanted to give him some props for throwing a great Memorial Day parade. Sometimes when it's your first one,
There's a lot of glitches and things don't always go right, but I didn't see any of those. You may have saw some, but I didn't see those glitches. Seemed like it was a great parade, and I just want to say thanks.
He told me he ordered the weather, so.
And that's it, Your Honor.
Chief, you have anything?
I just wanted to say that I appreciate my help down there. They really went out above and beyond issues. I got that's probably the best help I've had in years. So I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, I got a little information for an up-and-coming project. It's an NDOT project on North 16th, State 103 North. It's probably still a couple years out, but they are going to completely rehabilitate from Broad Street down to Kentucky Avenue. New storm lines, new sidewalks, new curbs. They were just going to mill 4 inches and go back with it and do new sidewalks, but they found that the basics, there was nothing under there, nothing left, so. And we're trying to push to get sidewalks on out to Washington. I don't know if we can get it or not, but we kind of bumped them on that.
Go all the way to Washington Street.
If we can have sidewalks. They are going to go ahead and resurface all the way out to Little Blue River.
Which is really
2 miles
16,
out of town
North
there.
16.
For that project, that's a couple of years out. But I brought that one up to say we had our meeting last week. I also got an email from Nathan Riggs from NDOT. They're gonna resurface 103 South. Now, did they give us a timeline on that? He didn't give me one on the email. I don't know if it's like
What they've just already done, from
Yeah.
like Broad all the way to,
They're trying to stay on top of these roads now. They're having discussion to where they're just letting them go too far. So maybe just do a resurface on 103 South.
he did say he's gonna try to do them like every 10 years, they're gonna resurface that.
Instead of getting, let them get in such bad shape, they're gonna try to keep them. But anyway, the reason I brought that up, I gave everybody, the email that I got from him. It was proposed to possibly remove the traffic light at Grand Avenue and 18th, and he just wanted to see what kind of feedback or what kind of tension that might have caused when I brought that up. Personally, a lot of people think it's a busy intersection, maybe sometimes it is, but I find most of the time I'm there, I'm always stuck at the red light, and there's nobody coming in any direction. So I guess their thoughts were maybe to remove the traffic light, put 2 stop signs on Grand Avenue, and if it caused too much friction, maybe a 4-way stop, and if it even got real ugly, they'll probably just leave the light alone. So just chew on that a little bit, let me know your feedback. I think you just want to get a feel for what everybody's response was. It's
That'd
just been
turn,
proposed.
that'd turn that into a racetrack down through there.
Well, he wasn't aware of that last week, that's why he emailed me this morning, or he would have brought it up in our meeting last week.
At Little Caesars.
Right at Little Caesars.
At Little Caesars.
And I have that reminded me of a question. I thought of the other day. The mirrors that we bought, where are we at on putting those up?
Helped them up,
Be a racetrack.
Lee and Matt and myself went out and helped them out.
Too much
One
shine.
proposed we need to, get some permission from telephone poles and at,
I wasn't gonna.
Indiana Avenue. We just haven't found a good spot there yet because of the walls. I think because of the walls.
Okay, I just wanted to check on
It-
progress.
It's just, it's not a good spot there, but we're continuing, the sun coming up in different areas, holding up different spots. We're still working on that. We've got them trying.
Okay, just thought I'd ask, I hadn't heard much about it.
Anything else, Frank?
That's all I have.
Well, I just, as I get older, things bother me more than they used to bother me. I can't help but be concerned for my children and my grandchildren over the violence that we're experiencing in our country now. And when I hear about the rampage at Virginia Beach and all those municipal workers who are just like the people that work here, just like the people that work here, it's hard for me to deal with that. We've become too accustomed to that. When I was growing up in the 60s and the never had that, and now it seems like every week it's 10 or 15 or 12 or 20, and it just continues, and we have to stop it. And I know no resolution or ordinance in this council will do it, but I just had to say something because they were city workers. They were just like we are, and it's just sad.
Dave, I hate to tell you this, but more days than not, when I drove to school, I had a gun in my vehicle, a 22 or a shotgun. We never thought of things like that. You'd have them hanging in the back window of your truck, and nothing was ever said. So, and we carried knives because we used them as tools on the farms. They weren't knives to do harm; they were tools. So.
Anything else? Brent? Peter? Christie?
There's two resolutions that need signed in each folder. One goes to the state, one we keep. I just want to make sure they both got signed.
Two in each folder?
Two in each folder.
Yeah, better check that. Second.
Oh, yeah.
You need somebody in front of you to separate them for you.
Sorry, I tried to. Thank you.
The only thing I have to say tonight is, I've been complaining a lot about the rain, but last week at least we didn't get the tornadoes that Pendleton got. And if you've been through Pendleton, there's some beautiful old homes there, but the roofs are just destroyed from 4-foot round trees crashing on them. If that was Monday, I called them Tuesday, or if it was Tuesday, I called them Wednesday and told them if they needed any police effort or any dump trucks or backhoes, just let us know. And I was raised that neighbors help neighbors. So, he said, well, I really appreciate that, thanks a lot. So he called Thursday, and of all things for him to ask for, their parks department and their cemetery department is cutting trees. He said, could you send some people over to mow? So we're sending 5 men mowing. You can't say, well, I meant everything but that.
I know it counted.
So between Mike and Dan, we're sending a 5-man crew over tomorrow to mow their cemetery, even though we need to mow desperately bad. But they've got ours. Actually, I think they had to pull a lawnmower out of the park today that got stuck. I think Evan got stuck today. So I mean, even ours is still wet, but we're going to take a day to go help a neighbor. They're still cutting trees. They've had hundreds of trees that blew down during that. So we're trying to be good neighbors. And I made it very clear that if this had to do with sports, the friendship's over. Trees are one thing, but sports is a whole different area. So if you hear something about that, yes, we're sending 5 guys over tomorrow, and we're gonna help them mow. Even though we need to mow, there's a lot of complaints about mowing here tonight, but we're sending just a one day, this one crew over tomorrow to help them mow. I don't know if you've driven through Pendleton yet, but there were some beautiful, old historic homes. As soon as you go under the viaduct, and where they have a speed limit sign, underneath there, and it just, it's a shame. I mean, it's sad. They got beat up pretty bad. So I've complained about the weather, but at least we didn't get the tornadoes that they got. At this point in time, if there's anyone from the public that has anything to say.
Yeah, real quick question. So is there anything that's stopping like a neighbor from mowing a yard that's 8 inches, 12 inches?
Nope.
Because I know Facebook, whatever, but there's been people that says they mowed the neighbors and then they've got something from the building inspector saying they're not allowed to because of insurance. Just telling you what I've been told.
We actually, and I can look that up and send you, but we actually have an ordinance that speaks to that and allows people to do that. You're allowed to do it up to a certain point. You can't go over and cut down a big tree.
Yeah, just
as
basically.
far as mowing and that.
Or can't board windows up or board doors up.
But I'll get that. I'll find that and send you the number on it.
Burn it.
Just call the fire department, right?
Anyone else? Yeah, Mike Royals, 1501 Valley Drive. Appreciate the lively discussion on the speed limit. But I think that's an enforcement issue. It's not a sign issue. I think Mr. Moles was talking about speeders too there. We have a speed limit sign at 30 mile an hour. Apparently they were going 40, 45. You put a 20 mile an hour speed limit up there, you're gonna have people doing 30, 35, 45 through there. That's just an enforcement issue. I don't think the speed limit signs are gonna change anything there. What they're doing with the digital signs gives them an idea of where they should be setting maybe for traffic enforcement. Hopefully that'll work. What did concern me is Mr. Kroger's comment about the traffic committee had looked at this thoroughly. It's like it's a done deal if the traffic committee says this. I think that should just be a suggestion from the traffic committee.
It is.
Any committee.
It is.
Should just be a suggestion to the rest of the council, and the council make the decision like they did tonight. I don't think you should get upset.
No, I'm
or
listening.
that your feelings are wrong on the traffic committee.
If I came off as upset, I'd no way, shape, or form.
You're just presenting your
Our view,
findings.
and then it has a
Right.
7.
Mike, I can tell you, whenever anything like this comes out, I put time into it.
I understand.
I went and sat there for about 2.5
And
hours.
I'm pleased with the way it went tonight. It was a good discussion. Everybody chimed in on that, and it worked out well, so. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I move we adjourn.
Anyone else?
Same family, same house. You got 45 seconds left on his
I
stuff.
don't live with him.
Put that in the
Represent
paper.
the Stellar. I want to say thank you. I am working on the Stellar. I've been working with Rex quite frequently. I've been working with Greg. I called Greg last week, I think 7 o'clock in the morning, at least 2 or possibly 3 mornings straight. We were a little bit behind in our region, Newcastle was, but we're catching up fast. And I've asked, the famous welcome and safety, and we're safe and welcome, and I've asked our EMS, fire chief, and chief of police to, what do you need? What do you want? Those auto signs were brought up in his wish list. We're top 4, guys, and we need to win this. And we can if we all work together. We can win it, we can win it. But these guys need safety equipment. Chief Matt mentioned, he mentioned something about the schools and the school shootings, backpacks and safeties for schools. Fire trucks. I mean, their wish list was really big. But that's what's important. And if you guys know, they do in Henry County. They do work in Knightstown. So really stress and try. And this Thursday, thank you, Rex, for getting that all together.
I think most everybody's gonna be here Thursday, maybe
Yeah.
everybody. So.
I would like, before you leave, a picture. There's a Stellar poster up there holding of our council for support. Any other suggestions? And we've got the best. We just need that Stellar money to help them fulfill to be Stellar.
Patty, I think there's a misconception out through the county too, because I made an announcement at church. I go Louisville. And they thought it was just Newcastle, Henry County, and Knightstown. I said, Henry County means Henry County.
Right.
So,
It means all
so
of
there's a
Henry
little bit
County.
of a misconception with that.
But, I'm on the project committee, and I represent Newcastle for projects, and we were weak, I'll be honest, so that's when I requested, I was talking about the safety part of it. And that represents everybody here, it represents it all.
And we do need to work hard to get our projects planned and all our ducks in a row so that, I mean, it won't be broken down just in 3 parts. I mean, you know, so I mean, we just need to make sure we've got our ducks in a row so we're not left out because we just dropped the ball.
Right, because we will be. And, but Mayor York and hard, everything I've asked him to do, sure, I'll do it. And I'm saying a day or two turnaround. And that's hard to do because they're all busy. So, and they've all keep answering my phone calls, so that's a good thing. Thank you very much, but I want a picture before you guys leave.
Thank you, Pat.
Your Honor, I move we adjourn. And
You got one more, Rex.
I tried, Rex tried.
I did want to come before you guys and thank the city so much for their help on Memorial Day Parade. I know that a lot of work comes from you guys as well. There is maybe a few more tweaks that we'll have to do for next year. We're looking at requesting roadblocks down Bundy Avenue. We had some issues with some of the traffic flow down that area. And then, but outside of that, it was a great time. I really appreciate the city. I appreciate the mayor coming to speak as well. And thank you guys for that. Also, want to make you guys aware, we are having our luncheon on June 19th. It's the 20th, June 19th. We are rolling out a new members benefits for our small businesses for Affinity Healthcare Plan. So if you're a small business owner, you may want to try to make sure you can attend that luncheon on June 19th at 11:30 at REMC. And then also, our golf outing is June 27th as well. If you have any questions on that, feel free to give me a ring. Thank you.
Now, Your Honor, I move we adjourn.
Wait. I'm in the row. No, I just wanted to say I'm Val McNellis, 801 Hawthorne. Carrie Barrett's not here, but I thought the fourth Friday was very nice, the initial one.
It was.
And you guys went, I thought they did a nice job, and I enjoyed it.
Let's
It
bring
should
it
be
up,
more
'cause I'm making-
succeeding, but it was great, so I give Carrie credit for kicking that off.
Yes.
So.
Good crowd.
Thanks for bringing
Thank
that
you,
up.
Greg.
Now, I move we adjourn.